amazingly beneficial but often overlooked exercise. It is, for all intents and purposes, the equivalent of an upper body squat. And thinking about it now, I realize why it goes the path of leg day. Despite being a fundamental calisthenics exercise that most people are aware of, its brothers, the push-up and the pull-up, seem to receive much more notoriety. It's like that forgotten middle child you didn't realize you had left at church until everyone's gathered around the table for Sunday brunch and your mom turns to you and goes, "Where's Timothy?" And that bead of cold sweat just runs down your face. You didn't mean to leave him in the tree. You just did. Because he's Timothy, and he's unimportant. The most recent full-length video with any amount of views on it is this one from Big Muscles nearly 2 years ago, and before that it was Jeff Nippard's video from nearly 6 years ago. And up to that point, I have in my research found no other feature video, something more than 30-second shorts, that is actually going over this exercise in detail, which is something that prompted me to engage in this challenge. So in the course of this video, we're gonna go over my experience doing 25 dips per day for the past 60 days. And hopefully by the end, I will have convinced you, or at least informed you, why I think this is one of the most fundamental exercises you should be doing in your routine. I have been more befuddled trying to research the history of this exercise than I was with either the push-up or the pull-up before, and I really can't seem to find anything about its history or development, either online or in literature. It has been cited in sports magazines as early as the 1950s and 60s, and there was a variation developed by Vince Gironda in the 1980s, which we won't get into in this video. But that's about it in terms of actual literature I've found describing it as the dip exercise, or dips, for muscular development, particularly for your chest and triceps. So good. I can, however, surmise from the myriad of pictures, sketches, wood carvings, etc., that this exercise would have been known. However, I do feel like it was more so a preparatory exercise for more high-level gymnastics. I came across something called horse gymnastics, in which this was kind of referenced, but that's really all that I've been able to come across. So if anyone had a better understanding of the development of this exercise, by all means, leave it in the comments below. We can have a scholarly discussion upon the development of the dip. Now the dip is going to work 3 primary muscle groups and 2 secondary ones. Your chest, triceps, and your delts will be the primary working muscles for this exercise, and your back and core are going to act as stabilizers so that your body doesn't sway too much while you're moving up and down. Now the variations that you can do is hips forward. This is going to target more of the tricep. You have your hips back. This is going to be more of a chest-centric motion. And then you also have knees up, and this is going to be primarily focused on your chest and look almost as if you were doing a seated dumbbell press. To perform the dip correctly, go to the bar, grab the bar with your hands roughly in line with each other. You don't want them too far forward of your body or too far back, as that's going to cause bad rotation either forwards or backwards in your shoulders. Once you have grabbed the bars, you are then going to push up. And then this is where your back will get activated to pull your shoulders down so they don't scrunch up against your neck. You're then going to lower yourself down until you come relatively deep into the stretch, or at least can feel it in your chest. You do not want to over-rotate forward to the degree where you feel pain in your shoulders or in your chest or elbows. If you feel pain at any point, you're going too far. You should feel a stretch, but nothing that would equate to pain. Now, like our current issue with the pull-up, we have another issue when it comes to dips, and that is it requires equipment. Where exactly do you find this equipment? How exactly do you set it up? How exactly do you use it? Well, I've got a few options in places that the equipment can be found or where we can acquire it. Now, where exactly are some places that we can find this equipment? Personally, I enjoy the park. Very many public parks are going to have a dip bar of some kind, whether that's the full one that I'm using in this video or just the small handlebars. There is always, though, the dip bar at the gym that you can use, and that one is quite user-friendly. Another thing we can do is purchase them online. Now, an important thing to caveat when it comes to buying dip bars online, they come in a variety of makes, models, and quality being the key factor here, and we really want to make sure we're getting quality dip bars. But buying a quality set of dip bars is really going to make the difference as to whether or not you are increasing or decreasing your risk of injury when it comes to this exercise. Now, a place you should obviously never be buying dip bars from is Temu or any of the other, Chinese websites. Don't be getting it from AliExpress or anything of that sort. Amazon is a good choice, or any fitness website will generally have a decent set of dip bars. I'll have a list of them going down the screen right now so you can see. And these will also be in the comments to help y'all, because I know we all don't like doing research. But when you're getting dip bars, you really need to focus on getting something that is quality. It is much better if you actually save yourself from injury in the long term, as opposed to knocking out a few reps on some questionable equipment. When you're looking at purchasing a dip bar or a set of dip bars, price doesn't always guarantee quality. You can have some incredibly cheap ones that have good quality, or some that are incredibly expensive that you're just basically paying for a name brand. At the end of the day, as long as you're buying something that has decent reviews and not a ton of parts that need to be clinked together, because those add more fail points, you're probably going to be picking up a decent set of dip bars. I would go with that. Now here's the part where I have to talk about the danger of dips, and this is something I feel I need to stress a little bit more than I did with the push-ups and pull-ups. With dips, you only have 2 points of contact, and those 2 points of contact rely on you having a very, very solid base and foundation. If your core is not engaged and your back is not helping pull those lats down and keep your shoulders from arching up, the thunder here to emphasize my point, you are at immense risk of injuring particularly your rotator cuff, throwing out your elbow joint, or something of that sort, and we really don't want that to happen. If you do the dips correctly, you'll probably be able to mitigate roughly 75 to 80% of that risk of injury, because like with any exercise, you can't mitigate all, but dips are incredibly crucial to get right. And particularly when it comes to your ligaments and joints, if you're doing it where it feels weird and feels strange, you're probably doing it in a way that's damaging those ligaments and joints. Because let's be honest, our body naturally wants to move a specific way. If our body is moving not that way, well, you're probably doing something wrong and you're putting yourself at greater risk of injury, which might even lead to you having to have surgery, which could take 6, 8, 9, 10 weeks even to recover. And that's something we certainly don't want to have happen. So when you're doing your dips, make sure you're doing them with proper form and you're doing them correctly. In conclusion, what did this accomplish? Now, I will say, personally, I wish I had started doing dips a lot earlier. I feel what I have gained from doing this for the past 60 days has been a noticeable increase in the overall roundness of my shoulders, as well as in a fuller feel to my chest and an ability to push a little bit more weight. It doesn't show up as much on camera. It shows up in the mirror when I'm in the bathroom, which is very nice for my ego, and I can go, ha, I'm cool. But in terms of just overall aesthetic, I think the dip plateaued a little bit once we hit day 42 or so. I don't think there was a lot more muscular development that will be gained from doing these if I was to stay at 25. I can confidently say now that I can do 25 to 27 reps easy enough. I don't have to worry about it any time of the day. I can go knock those out. And that's really nice to see that muscular endurance aspect being greatly improved from where it was at the beginning. However, just like with any body weight exercise, you are going to plateau relatively quickly. If you want to see further muscular development, further muscular endurance or strength endurance, focus on doing the reps faster for the endurance aspect, and then add weight for the strength and muscular development. I can confidently say I would see increased muscular development long-term with progressive overload, just like with any other type of strength training. Now, my final thoughts, I think this is an exercise you should do. Whether or not I convince you to do it in this episode, That remains to be seen. If you think the dip is a great exercise or there's something I've overlooked, leave it in the comments below. But I highly encourage you to really incorporate this exercise into your routine. The overall stability that has to be performed by your core, your back, while the movement is being done, is just gonna aid in a lot of other exercises that you'll be able to do or may want to do in the future. Well, everyone, thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate all the support I've gotten on this challenge. The poll will be out for the next challenge. It'll probably be out before this video drops. So if you haven't seen it, go check the communities tab on the channel. Again, guys, I really appreciate the support, and I'll see y'all next time.